It's news time. What's going on, guys? It's Cynical. Welcome back to another video. Today for you guys, we have more information to do with Kingdom Hearts 4, as well as even Kingdom Hearts Dark Road and Missing Link. You guys should know that about a week and a half ago, we were talking about a Famitsu interview with Tetsuya Nomura, talking all things to do with Kingdom Hearts 4, as well as Missing Link and Dark Road. Now, essentially, that was only half of that interview. The actual magazine where that interview is a part of ended up releasing today, and so due to that, we have the full interview. In this video, we're going to be talking about all of the information that was not covered in that initial video. There is some interesting stuff here. It's mainly comprised of new KH4 stuff, but also some interesting tidbits towards Missing Link as well as Dark Road. So without further ado, let's just dippity dive straight into the goodness, shall we? First up, I was surprised by the faithful recreation of the area surrounding Shibuya Hikari, the venue in which the event took place in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. The video was rendered in Unreal Engine 4, but with development moving to Unreal Engine 5, it seems that the graphics will become even more impressive. Nomura said currently we've already begun working in Unreal Engine 5, so this may be the only time we show you footage from Unreal Engine 4. The next time we show the game, it should be in Unreal Engine 5, so please look forward to it. So yeah, it was announced on the day that Kingdom Hearts 4 was revealed to us that this is in fact going to be an Unreal 5 game. I pretty much knew that going forward, the next time that we see Kingdom Hearts 4, it should be running on specifically the 5th version of Unreal Engine, which means that the visuals and stuff, everything we've seen so far, will only improve from here on out. Interesting to know though that we do have a glimpse of this game running specifically on Unreal Engine 4, even though the full finalized product will be of course a UE5 game. But looking forward to seeing the visual improvements that end up being made over the course of receiving new trailers. Is the room where Sora wakes up in also in Shibuya? Nomura said that is located in Minami Aoyama, however the location of the main unit is different from what you see from the balconies, so the Osaka staff will come by later on to do some location scouting to make adjustments. So what Nomura is saying here is they are going to be making further adjustments to Sora's apartment so that it mirrors the actual very real life location located in this location in Tokyo, which is super cool. So it makes me think that because of the fact that this literally is taking place in Tokyo, all of the areas that we get to explore in Quadratum are going to mirror and try to be as close to one as possible towards the actual real life city of Tokyo. Melody of Memory featured a woman who was familiar with Quadratum. She was only voiced and not shown, but will she appear in Kingdom Hearts 4? That is still a secret. As I said at the event, there was a time when I wasn't sure whether I would choose Kingdom Hearts 4 or Verum Rex as my next project. However, she is a very central Verum Rex character. So a lot of people were saying initially, alright, we don't know if this is like the girl that appeared during the Verum Rex ad with Yozora that Yozora was trying to save, you know, likely his little sweetheart, or more so Strelitzia. But through Melody of Memory, it's pretty clear that this girl is definitely the one that is connected to Yozora. We're kind of theorizing it could be another take on Stella from Final Fantasy Versus 13, who is meant to be the Luna from, 15 of Versus 13. The name change and of course the parents change to that of Luna happened through the whole change from Versus 13 to 15, but the original idea towards who this Stella character was going to be in Versus 13 could very likely be reused now for Kingdom Hearts 4 for Yozora's girlfriend, or friend that's a girl. Girlfriend. There seems to be a lot of anticipation for Verum Rex overseas, a bitter smile. While Yozora was first introduced in Kingdom Hearts 3, I got the impression that his reception was less than welcoming, but I guess that was not the case. So I don't know where that came from. I think the reception towards Yozora has been absolutely overwhelming in a positive sense. I mean, no doubt, I've seen some negativity towards the inclusion of Yozora mirroring that of Versus 13. I know some people don't like the idea that Versus 13 to a certain degree is going to be reconcepted into Kingdom Hearts, and that obviously Yozora plays a pretty big role in that whole grand scheme of things. But I don't know, dude. I'm hyped for Yozora, and I think the majority of the community are, especially the idea of a Verum Rex type game, which seems like it's something that we are going to get. If we go back to the news that we were talking about like a week and a half ago, Nomura was stuck on what to call this next Kingdom Hearts game, which is 4. He was undecided between Kingdom Hearts 4 or Verum Rex, but decided to go with Kingdom Hearts 4 as it identifies more with Sora. So Verum Rex sounds like it is still going to be a very real project. No doubt that game is going to be a solo Yozora game, one that takes place more so in his universe and focuses completely on him. I think we will end up seeing this unknown female character in Kingdom Hearts 4. Like, no doubt there's going to be more to do with Yozora in Kingdom Hearts 4, but I think we'll get the true flesh out of Yozora and all of the characters in his world and things to do with him in Verum Rex, which would likely be the next game that will follow after Kingdom Hearts IV. The logo has been redesigned. With the start of a new story, we took the opportunity to simplify the font. However, we wanted to retain that Kingdom Hearts feel in spite of the new simplicity, so it took a lot of trial and error to reach a design that struck the right balance. Yeah, it's still very reminiscent of what we're used to when it comes to a Kingdom Hearts logo. We've still got the heart in the back, we got the crown up the top. Really, the only difference is that we've got like a different font going on, which I think perfectly mirrors that whole theme of Sora now being in the real world, with it being a little less fantasy-esque and more realistic type looking, more simplified, more modern. 1 year has passed since Kingdom Hearts 3, so Sora's character design in 4 is slightly more mature. His hair is silky and realistic, and even the impression he gives off has changed. Nomura said even when we were working on Kingdom Hearts 3, there was discussions within the team about how realistic we should make the characters. We certainly could have made the hair silky smooth in Kingdom Hearts 3 if we wanted to. This time, since we are starting anew with the Lost Master arc, we decided to make some drastic changes. The characters' appearances also match the nature of the world they're in. Yeah, so the only reason why the characters looked the way they did in Kingdom Hearts 3 is because that's how they're visually meant to look within the world they're in, known as, I guess, reality to those characters and what is known as unreality to the, let's say, real-world characters, Quadratum characters. And because Quadratum characters come from a setting that very much mirrors our reality as we know it, real life, they look more realistic. To Sora, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey, what is known as more realistic looking is a cartoon type aesthetic. So interesting to know that, like, yeah, Nomura made the comment, we could have made the characters look more realistic in Kingdom Hearts 3, but for their worlds, that's not the type of art style that they follow. That's not how they're visually meant to appear. So this comment's already been made, but let's say Sora returns back to his known worlds, he will look the way he did in Kingdom Hearts 3. No doubt he'll probably have the new haircut and stuff going on, but the visual sort of appearance of Sora will look more cartoony if he returns. I hope we will meet Sora again, looking as he did in Kingdom Hearts 3. Has this new costume design been finalized? No, not yet. There may still be some finer changes, such as with the details. As for the silhouette, I think it'll be similar to the one in this trailer. So don't expect everything to be finalized with the way that we saw Sora in regards to his outfit in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. I think for the most part, from what Nomura is saying here, like, that is the base template, and then we're just going to pretty much add little bits and pieces, like finer details and stuff to it, maybe an extra zipper there, an extra button here, but for the most part, that's pretty much the way it's going to appear. I look forward to the evolution of this outfit as we receive more trailers, though. I'm sure it's something that we'll definitely be able to pick up on, especially with the shift from UE4 to UE5. I'd say no doubt the next time we see Kingdom Hearts 4 in a trailer, we might see some of these changes being made. The Master of Masters and his 6 disciples, the Lost Masters, disappeared after the Keyblade War in Unchained Key. What happened to them? Even though we didn't show exactly what happened, we do know that 5 of the foretellers, with the exception being Lushu, vanished after the Keyblade War. So this doesn't really answer the question, though, of course. This will likely be something that gets explained maybe a little bit in Missing Link, but more so because the focus of this next arc is to do with the Lost Masters and how they are going to be the next new antagonists. We'll likely get information towards what happened during that time, between them vanishing at the end of Unchained Key to them reappearing at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. I also hope that we do get to see a cutscene, maybe at the beginning beginning of Kingdom Hearts 4 with that extended conversation of when Lushu, Zigbar, was about to explain the journey that he's been on and everything that's transpired since their disappearance at the end of Unchained Key, essentially filling in the other guys into what has exactly happened and what they're now doing here, resurrected. I think that would be kind of a cool way to start off Kingdom Hearts 4. Maybe not in the sense of giving away too much. Maybe they could show like one half of that cutscene of the conversation at the beginning of the game, and then finally, right at the end of the game, show the last half explaining more of the important details towards the intentions of the Master of Masters and the grand plan and all that kind of nonsense. So they disappeared, but in Kingdom Hearts 3's epilogue, Lushu summons his fellow disciples back and they are reunited. The Lost Masters a threat to Sora and his friends? Simply put, the Lost Masters are an opposing force like Organization 13. However, not all of them have the same intentions. Their motives will be newly depicted in Kingdom Hearts 4, so in that sense, I hope you will enjoy this new arc from the very beginning. So that right there, by the way, is just outright confirmation that, yeah, they are the new antagonists. I really don't know how many people need a confirmation on this because it was pretty clear from the final scene of Kingdom Hearts 3 with the new chess game, showing that, you know, the new darkness pieces are, of course, representing the foretellers, but there's your confirmation. I know a few people are kind of like, I don't know, man, I don't know. Yeah, there it is. I like the comment towards how not all of them will have the same intentions, so no doubt there's probably going to be quite a few different moments that will happen throughout this next saga, or this next arc, where there will be tension between each of the different Lost Masters, where one is on board with what the Master of Masters is wanting to do, and one isn't exactly so much on board, disagreeing with what they're currently having to do. Sort of in similar fashion to, like, if we remember back to Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, if you sort of look towards how each of the Masters acted towards the whole idea of the traitor, it was all sort of a little bit different. We can see that, like, Ira, the Unicornus foreteller, he was quite on board with, like, the Master of Masters, and quite, like, trusting in what exactly was happening. He was quite cool, calm, and collective, and I think the same will show for this next coming arc. He will trust in whatever the Master of Masters does, and will do anything for him. But then when we look more towards the character of, like, Aced, he kind of questions a lot of things, and sort of goes out of his way to, like, seek answers, like when he was physically trying to get to the root of the problem, trying to seek the answer of who the traitor was by, like, physically fucking grabbing Gula and shaking the shit out of him and being like, are you the traitor, dude? Like, what the fuck is going on, man? So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the dynamic between all of these characters. Also learning more about Ava as well. I think she was the one that really questioned the Master of Masters' intentions and wanted to go out on her own accord and do things her own way to a certain degree, even though of course she was given that task to create the Dandelion group. She questioned a lot of what the Master of Masters was doing. So I think this dynamic between the group is going to be very interesting, and because it's only about, like, 7, so it's 7 of them and not 13 this time, Nomura can actually spend a little bit more time fleshing out each of these antagonists, not having to worry about 13 different characters. That's a lot of characters to keep in mind. Who are the two wearing black coats in the trailer? One of them seems to be the Master of Masters. That's still a secret. By the way, in addition to Masaru Oka, who has worked with me on the scenarios for the Kingdom Hearts series up until now, I've asked Akiko Ishibashi, most likely butchered that, a newcomer to the Kingdom Hearts series, to join us in writing the scenarios for Kingdom Hearts 4. That marks the start of our 3-person team. So the story planning for Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming from 3 different people. And yeah, by the way, the crediting towards the story of Kingdom Hearts so far shouldn't just be given to, of course, Tetsuya Nomura. Masaru has, of course, dabbled into building this story as well. The cool thing about this, though, is, in case you guys don't know, Akiko is actually the story planner for Neo, The World Ends With You. Goddamn, that's kind of fucking exciting, man. So we got a bit of a follow-up towards this. The biggest reason is because of how she factors into approaching new users from the perspective of someone who has no experience with the Kingdom Hearts series. She did a great job of integrating the characters, values, and principles in Neo, The World Ends With You and other works. I thought her way of thinking would be well suited for Kingdom Hearts, especially with the way that you see Neo, The World Ends With You, the story pan out with all of the weird time travel wackiness and stuff, and because it's not exactly a self-contained story if you're thinking of like the very first game, but it was good enough, like with the way that the story was planned out and jumping into the shoes of a brand new character, Rindo, with a whole new squad. For newcomers of TWEWY, it was easy enough for people to just kind of jump in, not needing to know what happened in the original The World Ends With You. It's not overly too needed to even play the original World Ends With You in order to experience Neo, and we need a lot of that going on in Kingdom Hearts 4, because there are still people out there that just do not want to have to play through 13 different games in order to understand what the fuck is going on. And I was recently saying this in the comment reaction video towards Kingdom Hearts 4. One of the greatest things about Kingdom Hearts 4 is we're starting a brand new arc, and although yes, it will definitely pay to know certain different things, I think a lot of what happens in Missing Link in Unchained's Key and the Key Saga is probably going to be quite important. You're probably not going to overly need too much knowledge on everything that's transpired, because we're starting a fresh new storyline. I think you'll get more out of the game's story if you've played all of the games leading up to 4, but because of the fact that we're starting a brand new arc, it's going to be a good starting point for people fresh into the series. I only hope that people who jump into Kingdom Hearts 4 as their first Kingdom Hearts game make the decision to go back and play through all of the previous ones to learn how Sora ended up where he is, and all of the other history that's kind of not needed but would be helpful to know going forward into this next saga. About the EX gauge in the lower right, please wait for more information on that. Yeah, I think that's just simply a placeholder for whatever that gauge will end up being. The look of the gauge will also probably change as well. We saw a very similar gauge in the very first Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that was also named EX, and then later on that was redesigned and changed the name of Focus. So that's simply just a placeholder thing when we see the whole EX gauge. Changing the subject, what did you request for the new songs used in the trailer? I requested a sense of anticipation building towards the latter half, so you'd feel like you're waiting for a hero to appear. It was very difficult since I had asked for adjustments to be made to the length of the song to match that of the video at the last minute. Wow, that's kind of really interesting. They had to like do some adjustments so that the music would sync up with what was going on in the trailer, so that it kind of picks up during the gameplay segment towards the dark side. Interesting. For Missing Link's song, I wanted it to have vocals throughout, so the chorus was included in this trailer. Can we just quickly talk about that Dearly Beloved for Missing Link, because it is absolutely banging. I don't think I've mentioned this or even talked about the Dearly Beloved that appeared in that Missing Link trailer, but oh my god! What are the societies that sprawl and branch like veins mentioned in the trailer, referring to the Missing Link trailer and referring to that title that popped up throughout the trailer? Kingdom Hearts Missing Link takes place about 4 generations after Ephemer's time. His descendants have each formed their own societies. The main family who carries his bloodline is the Society of Successors, while the branch family is the Society of Non-Successors. Just like Kingdom Hearts 4, we're considering how to approach new users and have asked Ryuko Fuzukawa, another newcomer to the series, to write the scenario. In case you guys don't know, he was also a scenario writer for Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Sword, which is awesome because, yeah, Heaven's Sword is held up to a very high standard of storytelling. A lot of people do believe that the story that is contained within Final Fantasy XIV is one of the best Final Fantasy stories ever. So, like, holy shit, we got some big names now, dude. Working with the Kingdom Hearts team towards Missing Link, the Heaven's Sword story writer, and Kingdom Hearts 4, the Neo The World Ends With You story writer. So this is really cool because it gives us a pretty good idea as to how much time is between the main events of Kingdom Hearts with Sora and the gang and the Kingdom Hearts Key Saga. So Missing Link takes place 4 generations after Ephemer's time. Now a generation is about like 25 years, so 4 generations, That's about 100 odd years. So that's about 100 years into the future, past Daybreak Town, to the point of Missing Link. Now, we don't know how long the Missing Link story lasts for, but let's say it's maybe about 10 years or something. Now, thanks to the Union Cross ending, we know that Xehanort comes from the era of Missing Link. We see a cutscene of Xehanort's mum handing off Xehanort as a little baby to a mysterious person wearing a blue robe. We then get a cutscene switch to Destiny Islands, so it is unknown as to whether or not this person just travels to Destiny Islands, or if this is some sort of time travel into the future Destiny Islands. Xehanort, by the age of about 80 years old, canonically, is where the main events of Kingdom Hearts is taking place. So, if we don't really include a potential time skip there between Xehanort traveling from Scarlet's Kylum into Destiny Islands, then it's about 200 odd years. So it seems. Also, the family tree thing with the true successors being part of the bloodline and the ones that aren't part of the bloodline, the society of non-successors, that's probably where our tension thing is going to draw. And with how there were unions in Kingdom Hearts Key, it might be a setup of only two sides here, one that is part of the true bloodline, one that's not part of the true bloodline. And I would say that possibly there might be some hierarchy set up in Kingdom Hearts Missing Link within this ancient Scala where when looking towards like the true successors, they might be treated a little bit better than the non-successors. I could definitely see Brain teaming up with the Secret Society of Keyblade Wielders, as Nomura has dubbed it, which would likely be comprised of the non-successors. Yeah, possibly Kingdom Hearts Missing Link might get a little political. So here we get the confirmation of gacha in Missing Link. Are you surprised? And yes, just as we've been talking about, yeah, the pieces, the figurines are going to be part of a gacha system as well. They were mentioning how it looks like the pieces are pretty cool, that's pretty unique. Nomura said we wanted them to look rich, so we made them in the form of figurines. The pieces can be obtained not just from the gacha, but also in the field. So we know about this, which is cool. You're going to be able to obtain these while just exploring out in the real world, and you'll come across them. For example, you might get a message that says, this piece is currently available at this location in Shibuya. So you'll get alerts to say there's a new Terra figurine down at your local park. Go there, defeat the enemy, and you'll get it. That's kind of cool. But I also hope that there aren't semi-exclusive figures and pieces that are exclusive to that of a gacha system. There will be no doubt. This is the only way that Square is going to be able to force people into throwing money into the game. It's going to happen. But there is your gacha confirmation. I spotted some pieces in the trailer that resembled Terra among other characters. Terra is a character who hails from a time period long after Missing Link, so are the pieces just created for the purpose of the game. The purpose of this association between characters and pieces is to collect records of all of the world's past, presents, and futures. Each piece provides information on its character from all eras, and you'll be able to draw upon their abilities to fight. So yeah, it seems like there is going to be a canon reason for this, just as, I guess you could say, the reason why the medals and stuff in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross were from different characters that didn't exist during that time period, like Sora, Riku, and Kairi and all that. We can pretty much assume that it's the Tome of Prophecies that was projecting that, just as the Tome of Prophecies was able to project worlds from into the future. It's possibly a very similar setup going on here, where these figurines are projected, and like Nomura said, the figurines will be ones from of characters from like the past, the present, and the future. So we'll even get characters and figurines and stuff from those characters in Union Cross too, which is quite interesting, and even into the future, so that could even mean like Yozora and whatnot. The battles look like action in Kingdom Hearts 3. Nomura said the project started in parallel with Union Cross. We knew that if we were going to make the next mobile iteration of Kingdom Hearts, we had to make sure it would play similar to the mainline games in order to satisfy the audience. Therefore, it was inevitable that we'd aim to create an experience that would be close to the action you'd find in those titles. Yeah, no doubt that Square Enix saw the feedback and reception of Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key and Union Cross, as well as even Dark Road, over the course of time, with people constantly saying like, Yeah, the story's fine, it's okay, even though like the story setup and the way that the story worked kind of wasn't, because there was so much filler, which is one thing I'm really hoping for in Missing Link's story, is that there is less filler, my god. But people were saying that like the gameplay here, it's hard to sit down and play this. It's hard to maintain an attention span because it's just not engaging whatsoever. So I'm glad that they decided like we absolutely had to make sure it at least reflected and represented normal Kingdom Hearts gameplay, because that's exactly what we're wanting from a mobile Kingdom Hearts title. You mentioned that you added additional scenarios to Dark Road, more than what was originally planned. Initially, we were planning to include the other classmates as well as delve further into Xehanort's companions. However, due to a change of plans, I asked Tomoko Kanamaki, who also worked on Days and writes the series' light novel adaptations, to put together a scenario with a limited number of stories. The plan received further changes after that, and I had the team's scenario writers make adjustments to focus solely on Xehanort. However, I felt that we were losing too much by making all of these cuts, so I decided to add them back in at the end. As I said at the event, you'll even learn why Master Xehanort became bold. So yeah, I think we're starting to really understand why Dark Road has faced so many delays. Well, 2 to be exact. It was initially planned to be released back in September of last year, and then winter, and then oh my god, now it's August. It's almost like a year on and we're finally getting it. It looks like there was a lot of rearrangements towards Dark Road specifically, and now we know there's only 2 people working on Dark Road, as the whole entire Dark Road team has disbanded and is now working with the other Kingdom Hearts teams. But Nomura's already said there's going to be a lot of content in this, and it seems like content plans keep changing as time goes on. So now, finally, it is for the most part finalized, and we don't have to wait too much longer. And it sounds like there's going to be a good volume of new stuff in here. And finally, the last thing here is I'm looking forward to it. Lastly, what plans do you have for the remaining duration of the 20th anniversary? Nomura said, Dark Road is nearing completion, and the 2 women who are working on the event scenes are giving it their all, so please give them your support. It'll just be a little longer. Kingdom Hearts Missing Link is scheduled for a closed beta test this fall. Kingdom Hearts 4's development is being prioritized, and we don't have plans to release additional information for a while. I'm hoping to put some other stuff together, so please wait for more information from official announcements. Curious about that other stuff. He's essentially meaning stuff outside of the 3 big things at the moment, which is Dark Road, Kingdom Hearts 4, and Missing Link. So we've got some Missing Link and Dark Road to look forward to for this year, but Kingdom Hearts 4, we don't have any plans to release additional information for a while, so this video right here will probably be the last Kingdom Hearts 4 news video for a little while. But I am maybe thinking that we might get something at the very end of the year. I think with these sort of reoccurring comments of saying like, yeah, don't expect anything for some time, we're still in the early stages of development, it makes me think, all right, looking at Tokyo Game Show this year, or even D23 like in September, I don't think anything will pop up, honestly. I think more so at this point, end of 2022, if not, of course, 2023 is going to be our next slice, looking at maybe either Jump Festa or the Game Awards at the end of this year. If we're to expect any new trailer or any substantial information about Kingdom Hearts 4 this year, I would lock your eyes on December. But however, guys, that is all for today. A pretty big news blowout. I'm loving this, man. Like, I'm loving being back in the new season. Again, it just reminds me so much of the pre-Kingdom Hearts 3 days. It's absolutely beautiful. There's going to be a little bit of a waiting game, as we used to call them, what was it, dry seasons or whatnot. So we've now got Kingdom Hearts 4 dry seasons. They will happen. Very good. But I want to let you guys know, just as a little quick side note, I am finally getting back into streaming. It's taken me some while to figure out some like internet issues, but finally tomorrow I am coming back to streaming. So if you haven't already, be sure to click on my Twitch in the description down below and give me a follow if that's something that you guys are kind of interested in. I do plan on streaming all things Kingdom Hearts, as it has been a hot minute, but I do want to also focus on some variety going forward to kind of just branch out with some things. However, guys, that's all for today. Hopefully you have a goddamn good one. I'm Cynical, and I'll catch you guys real soon. Peace.